Let us meet our panel, a former executive director of the Christian Coalition, Maile job. He's the director of Republican Affairs for Voter.com. Randy Tate. Randy, hey, how you doing?
Good to see you again.
Just kidding you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. She is the Tony Award and Pulitzer Prize winning playwright of the Heidi Chronicles and the Sisters Rosenzweig. Her new collection of essays is Shiksa Goddess, Wendy Wasserstein.
Thank you.
It's a great title for a book. Good to have you back. The band is Eden's Crush, the CD is Pop Stars, and the siren in the middle is Maile Misajon. Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
There you go. And he's a big deal TV actor and writer who's been nominated for 400 Emmys. That can't be right. He must have wrote that himself. Next month, he's back on Broadway in Chicago, and his new book is How Men Have Babies. Alan Thicke.
Well,
We're just finding out.
thank you.
Alan, you don't know how men have babies? You had to write a book about it?
Well, there's a lot of diagrams, a lot of research.
He's a hound. Okay. I don't know if you know this, but it's Jesus Day.
Hallelujah. No, I didn't know that.
In many states, I don't understand this. This came up last year when Governor Bush, then Governor Bush, now he's gone on, proclaimed it in Texas. It was June 10th there. It varies from state to state. It's the 16th in Alaska. Many states have this. Jesus Day. Gee, don't we already have one? Christmas?
We have a
Thank
couple.
you.
We have a couple.
Christmas.
But I thought it was nice the way he got his family to celebrate. He told his daughters it was happy hour at the church, and everybody showed up. It's a family praying together.
But it seems like the government is sanctioning one religion over the other religions.
No,
by
No, I mean, look, none of us have problems spending money that says "In God We Trust" on it. I mean, we
I do.
Well,
do.
Well,
And I believe in God.
Look, we have a national holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King, who was a Baptist minister, who through his faith went out and, based on the tenets of his faith, fought to end segregation in this country.
That ain't religion, man.
Look, if we're
Founded on the separation between church and state.
Yes, it was. Unfortunately, no. One, it doesn't say separation of church and state in the Constitution, by the way.
It was founded by people who came here for religious freedom to not live in a country.
Absolutely. We should have a country where we are willing to acknowledge and allow religious expression of any sort, even those that we disagree with, even if we don't have that particular faith.
Absolutely.
Well, it's freedom of it, not freedom from it. And unfortunately, those that say separation of church and state, they believe all state, no church. What I believe in, and I think the vast majority of Americans believe in, is regardless of your faith, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, what have you, you should be able to express your faith in the public square without fear of ridicule.
But what happens if the Muslims
That's what makes this country different.
What happens if other religion people come to President Bush and say, well, we want to declare the Scientologist thing, or, what are you going to do then? What if he said no? What's going to happen then?
What is he going to say to that? No, Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, he's well, not that.
No,
but
Mr. Travolta?
No, but it already
sets a
happens.
precedent.
No, it does. In the military, you have chaplains, you have Baptists, you have Protestants, you have Catholics, you have a Wiccan in the military that administers.
But there's no Wiccan Day. This is a state-sanctioned holiday.
Wait, are we making too much of the day? I mean, it's not a national holiday.
No, it's
a day. We already have Groundhog Day, we have Arbor Day, we have Helmet Day, we have Bat Day.
Exactly.
We'll have Jesus Day at Dodger Stadium as soon as they get a Dominican shortstop. And now, I mean, by all accounts, Jesus was a fine fellow. So if we have to celebrate something, why not give him another day? It's not it's just a day.
And we have so many other things to worry about.
True Canadian. He's enjoying our fruit.
That's
but
right.
Not
And we want Wayne Gretzky Day too, by the way. We'll work on that later on, where everybody gets a free puck.
There's so many other problems out there. We shouldn't worry about a Jesus Day.
And
whether that's applied or not. I mean, look, we have a month for Gay Pride Day. Shouldn't we have one day for this?
Gay Pride Day is not state-sanctioned.
It's federally sanctioned.
It is not.
It was last year, absolutely, Bill.
Of course it's not.
It was. You had Gay and Lesbian Pride Month in June of 2000, sanctioned by Bill Clinton.
Oh, Bill Clinton.
Yeah. The point.
Let's let bygones be bygones.
The point is that we shouldn't worry about it.
Mention Gay Pride Day.
No, but the point of it is, look, you have people of faith in this country. We should represent all views. And President Bush has acknowledged Muslims. He's acknowledged Jews. He's acknowleded Christians.
But he hasn't given them a day.
Acknowledged. He's had his picture taken with them. That's his method of acknowledging everybody he could give a flying about. He just has his picture taken with them. He doesn't do anything for them. He doesn't care about them. But people believe in pictures. That's what he did with the environment. I'm standing next to a redwood. Look, I'm an environmentalist. I'm next to a tree. How much plainer can it get? Look, there's a black child on my lap. A black child is on my lap. How can you doubt my sincerity?
So for this, you're gonna have a nice poster of him saying, "Hi, this is Jesus." And where's he gonna get that? It's a very. I think that if he doesn't deal with things like this, and you're talking about public relations because he has a big public relations challenge. If they don't do things like this, then they have to deal with the environment, or they have to deal with education or health or things that it's early for them to know how they're going to do with those issues, and they have their hands full and haven't been terribly successful at it so far. That's maybe why he's in Europe and working on his PR, which is why, to a lot of people, Jesus Day will be successful.
Yeah, let's be clear,
it's not a big day to have that be declared by Governor Bush. I mean,
no, but it's not. It's state by state, up to the state, the governors.
How about just a Jesus lunch?
It's not a federal.
Can we just have a Jesus lunch, maybe just an hour or so?
What about Christmas and Hanukkah and Easter and all those other holidays?
Basically dangerous thing. This is not how this country was founded. This ignores the basic tenets here of democracy. Yes, it does.
No. And let's be real about this. Christians really think that this is a Christian country, and everybody else is sort of condescendingly tolerated.
No, that's not true.
It is true.
No, it's not. No, I think what it is, we have. What makes this country great is we have a diverse opinion on views. Whether you have a faith or you don't have a faith, you have a right to be involved in politics. You have a right to come on this show and speak your mind. You have a right to express your views on a Sunday, a Saturday, any day of the week.
But I'm not the government. This is TV. It's different. Okay, the government should be something a little more serious, I hope. If the government declared, Voodoo Day, where we all, the governor,
don't give him any ideas.
Killed a chicken and sprinkled blood.
Do you think for a minute television doesn't rule this country? This is how we elect people, how opinions are formulated. You have as much influence on public opinion as probably most of the politicians in the history of this country ever had.
Wow. You mean I'm my own master?
It's a good thing I don't listen to you. I'd be very confused.
I guess I'm not, because I have to take a commercial. Well, President Bush was in Belgium today. He gets around, doesn't he? The second stop on his European tour, he met with Belgium's King Albert. Yesterday he met with King Juan Carlos of Spain. Tomorrow he meets with King Gustav of Sweden. Bush said he loves meeting these guys because none of them got the popular vote either. Well, the first annual hip-hop summit wrapped up in New York City today. Participants included P. Diddy, Master P, Chuck D, Run DMC, KRS-One, LL Cool J. Just so no one felt dissed, by the way, all of them arrived alphabetically. Okay. Well, we could talk about President Bush, but, who cares? He's in Europe. I want to give him a rest this week. And it's also June, the month of weddings. Everyone is talking about weddings. I don't know. Why do women want to get married in June? What is it about June?
June's a beautiful month. I think that it's usually like, spring to summer, and it's fresh and young and beautiful flowers.
Right. It makes your hormones horny. Okay.
Okay.
So, I always read, I don't know why, I've never been married. Alan, you're going through a bitter divorce.
No, it's all way behind me.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago. So, I don't know, I always read the wedding announcements in the paper, and I thought this June, by the way, were they always this personal? Did they always tell the whole story of the wedding?
And the wedding announcement?
You mean how they met? And
how they met? I'll just give you one example. This tells about how the mother set the two up. My mother was visiting the Robinsons without consulting me. She gave the guy the girl's number and said she'd love to hear from you. So the mother, you know, Jews, who's to say? And then they went on a date, but they both considered it a date, they said, with a lower D. In other words, they weren't going to... Okay. But when she saw him again, Mrs. Watts noticed that he was much more handsome than I remembered. She was also impressed by his ability to talk his way into a sold-out museum. In this case, the Holocaust Museum. That is a good first date, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, but you know, I think what you're reacting to is probably why all this information. And the truth is, I think it's directly proportionate to how interested we are in those people. You know, look at People magazine. Russell Crowe will get 4 pages for a French kiss. You know, we're interested in that. We want to deal with that. But these people are just trying to tell their story. And let them. Most people only get married 3 or 4 times in their life. So let them tell their story.
But he's
Bill, think of it really from the point of view of the writer. If you're writing the wedding announcements, it's a lot more interesting to write that than, you know, Joel Fishman married Greta Greenberg yesterday at wherever they went. At least this way, as a writer, you get a chance to actually do something.
Yeah, but think about how many column inches in that same paper are dedicated to murders and rapes and fires and all this other tragedies. I mean, this is something, you know, in our society that we actually should celebrate, which is marriage, which is the foundation of our civilization. And yeah, it's a little over the top.
Not the foundation of our civilization.
Absolutely.
It wasn't even a sacrament in the church until 1215 today.
And the 12th.
Getting married. We should encourage marriage with all the other horrible things going on in society. You watch the news, the first 5 stories tonight on the news, we're all
But I think that
they're married here today.
You should have spoken to Rick Rockwell before.
No, nobody's sent home because we're not married.
No, that's not the point. The point is that
you want government to just favor everything that you believe in. That's not what this government was founded on. We should have Jesus Day. We should encourage marriage. What about the people who don't believe in Jesus and don't believe in marriage? What about us?
You have a pretty good country where you can come on a show like this and make those points. The point on the marriage is, in the society, when you look at problems in society today, many of the problems in society today are kids that come from broken homes. Statistic after statistic shows that that's a problem. We should encourage marriage. It doesn't say that if you're single, I have family members, I have friends that aren't married. That's not a condemnation on them. But the point is, it is marriage.
Some of my best friends are single, huh?
Yeah, no.
Everybody wants to know about getting where they met and like if they had burgers and fries together. You know, they kind of want to know like who's getting married and when. That's what they care about.
I kind of want to know if they had burgers and fries together.
I find it fascinating.
I really
he read it, so...
There's a woman named Lois Brady who writes these things for the Times, and she's a wonderful writer, and you sit there, and these people had there was somebody who had their wedding at the cheese department of the Fairway food store. I was riveted. I thought, who chose this?
I'm telling you, I am fascinated by this.
That's where we went wrong.
Exactly right.
Especially because it's the New York Times, which is the driest paper in the great paper, but I mean, I don't know why, but I am constantly drawn into this stuff. Listen to the way they made a second date, this couple. Let me get back to this couple. This time with an uppercase D. It was a sunset ride on the Staten Island ferry.
Oh.
Hey, your tokens are no good here, babe. Eating stinky cheese and drinking a lot of wine. In other words, they're going to do it this time. And for the guy, the deciding moment was when they missed the ferry back to Manhattan and she rolled with it.
But that's a beautiful story. I think this is a Tom Hanks movie, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe they're pitching it. That's exactly
there we
true.
Go. And it is more difficult, you know, speaking of that, I think in the celebrity community, anybody who is at all well known, what you're talking about there is embellished and ends up in the Inquirer, you know, and the embarrassment is it's a gushy photo of the wedding, and then 6 months later you're having pasta with Robert Blake, you know, and then that picture goes in the Inquirer. But then the tabloid and the celebrity business, they'll print both, you know, you get the before and the after kind of pictures. And that follows you around. Here, at least, it's the 15 minutes of fame and something that families celebrate.
That's exactly
it's their moment. They celebrate it, and then they call their lawyer.
I just find it fascinating how people get together. There's another one I read a few weeks ago from the weddings editor at Martha Stewart magazine. Got married. Listen to this. She said, I went on 3 blind dates a week for 10 years.
Really?
What?
Sorry.
That's not good.
She was doing something wrong. Somewhere there would have been a second date.
Well, listen to this. She said, the first night I kissed him, the guy she married, all I could think about was Martha Stewart.
Well, you know, Martha has that look, I guess.
Did Martha come to the wedding? Does it say?
It doesn't say.
Oh.
It just says how they... Yeah, and you know, it's amazing also here, about half of these women, it says, keeps their own name. Nobody wants to take the husband's name anymore.
More power to them. Keep your name. Be proud of your name. I love my name.
So if you got married, you wouldn't change your name?
Well, I don't know. It's a toss-up. I mean, if it's a really good last name, maybe I'll take it. But I'm just kidding. No, I actually, the more I say my name, the more I think it is a devotion to your husband. I think it is a good thing to take his name. But I'm very proud of my name. I love the Filipino heritage that I have, and I want to keep it. You know, for as long as I can.
We got to take a break. We'll be back.
Join us tomorrow when our guest will be Fear Factor's Joe Rogan, from Arliss, Robert Wool, Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, and radio talk show host Nancy Wolf.
Joe Lieberman, last year's Democratic vice presidential nominee, began hearings today in the Senate on the electricity crisis here in California. He said he has talked to hundreds of people from the state, and they say prices are out of sight, and come on, they can't all be Jewish. All right. Well, listen, while President Bush is in Europe, let's talk about him. He is over there, and some people have said that the perception of the Europeans of this president is not that high. And this, quoted in the New York Times, a senior administration official said, the common European perception of him is of a shallow, arrogant, gun-loving, abortion-hating, Christian fundamentalist Texan buffoon.
His dad said that.
I mean, where are the Europeans getting this stuff?
But, you know, isn't that kind of the European perception of our country? Isn't he, in a way, symbolic of that? They think we're, you know, kind of a smash-mouth, in-your-face kind of country. We are the WWF of countries. And
what do you mean?
However, yeah, but yes, that's right. Well, I'm still working on my green card. But, which may be the only green thing in the country left after these environmental policies. But the country... I think the country has kind of that image. We have kind of that image, and it's okay. You know, I think they don't necessarily want to be us, but they're entertained by us, they're amused by us, and there's something about them that likes, it's a guilty pleasure, getting a little American culture, such as it is.
Yeah, they do complain about us, but I noticed I was there a couple of years ago. They are becoming ever more like us. I mean, they run their elections like us. I was in Ireland. I thought I was going to see, this is my heritage, just, you know, thatched cottages, and there are some, but there's also a lot of strip malls and prefab houses, and,
They've Californicated, with strip malls and the whole
Californicated? I'm surprised a Christian would say a word like that.
Hey, look, I mean, Bush is going to Europe. He's there. I mean, every president who's gone there is come with skepticism on the part of the Europeans. They always think of, it's the John Wayne sort of wild, wild west president coming over to Europe. But they're the same ones that at a moment's notice are going to call on the United States to go to Bosnia to help them out in their own backyard. They're the first ones to call on us during the Gulf War to help out with Kuwait to make sure they get their oil supply. This is he'll work his way through. He'll work his way through this, and
yeah, they are a little like the baker and the Godfather. They come to us on the day of our daughter's wedding to ask for a favor.
Asking for a favor.
In his case, it's like a little late for a junior year abroad. You kind of think like, this is his first trip.
It is. He's never been overseas.
Yeah, so you can understand the skepticism. I mean, I think we have to care a lot what they think about us, and it's, it's a small world, isn't it?
It is.
So.
And for a guy who's in this office to have never been overseas,
That's
you know,
scary.
I'm not going to go back into why he didn't go to Vietnam.
Yeah, but I'm less interested in where he's traveled. I'm more interested in what his policies are and the people that are around him. And I think it'd be hard-pressed to argue that he doesn't have some of the top minds in America, such as Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, Dick Cheney, Don Rumsfeld, et al. That is a team that has incredible experience.
I wish I had time, but I don't. We'll have to take a break. We'll be back. I tell you one thing, Norman, you're up plugging. Tomorrow, Joe Rogan, Robert Wall, Mark Cuban. Oh, he's a firebrand, and Nancy Wolf.